Hello everyone and welcome back to the hallowed halls of the community center, because today we will finally be figuring out who the best mayor in all of Skyblock truly is. Alright, and one last thing before we begin, because we're so close to 100 subscribers, so if you want to make my 10-year-old dreams come true, please just subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, I promise. Anyways, let's stop wasting time. On to the video. Well, I guess we should discuss how we're planning on actually comparing these mayors to each other. Which is actually a problem in the real world too. Like, even scientists argue about how to best compare unlike mayors to each other. Okay, maybe not mayors. But essentially, for the sake of this video, I've gone ahead and simplified it into two main categories, and that is profitability and skill gains. And the mayors will get points based on their placement in each category, with first place getting 8 points, second place getting 7, third place getting 6, and so on. And at the end of it, both categories' points will be added up, and the winner will be whoever scores the most points across both categories. Also, there will be a few bonus points going out to the two mayor candidates who really get screwed by this two-category system, but you know, that's not important. I'm sure that won't matter. Anyways, let's hop into it. Alright, the first criteria we will be comparing is profitability, and our first candidate is Aatrox. Haha, just kidding, one more thing. We'll be assuming you have 145 base magic find, which can be achieved by doing all of these things. And then we'll also be assuming you are playing 40 hours during the mayor's term. Those will be important in a second when we start to calculate how much profit you can make. So because I'm a sane and completely normal person, I decided to make an entire list of every single possible drop from a tier 5 Tarantula Broadfather, as this is the most profitable Slayer. I calculated both the sell price of the items and then multiplied them by their drop chance, so you can see the average number of points each item will get you per boss. Now, after subtracting the cost it would take to start each boss during half-price Slayers with the veteran bonus, I got a grand total of 364,250 coins of profit per boss, and then I had to multiply that by 1,200 bosses, which is about the number you'd be able to do in 40 hours, assuming it takes you about 2 minutes to do a boss. Yeah, you thought I was messing around. And if you multiply that all together, you get a profitability of 437 million coins. Honestly, not too shabby. But would it be enough? Alright, the next candidate we're going to be comparing is coal. And the main thing with coal is honestly going to be the mining fiestas, because this gives you the chance to get both refined minerals and glossy gemstones. But for the purposes of making money, we only care about the gemstones, so let's get into it. And honestly, there wasn't a really good way for me to figure out how many glossy gemstones you could get during a mining fiesta without coal being elected. But thankfully someone had already done the math, and I'm going to be showing this forum post as my evidence. And as you can see, I can't find the original post. I tried, but thank you Loxful, who suggested that average mining fiesta glossy gemstone yields were around 33 to 35. So we're going to go ahead and give coal the benefit of the doubt and assume you can get about 35 glossy gemstones per mining fiesta. And then we're even going to go one step further and say the stars have aligned, the clouds have parted, and somehow you can make it to every single one of his 5 mining fiestas for the entire year. So let's see how this goes. Alright guys, quick math, what's 35 times 5? 175, did you get it? I know you got it. I see you, Michael, I'm proud of you. Alright, now if we want to go into the bazaar and look up glossy gemstones, we can see that glossy gemstone sells for about 1.8 million coins, so that's the estimate we're going to be using. 1.8 million times 175, quick mental math. I'm just kidding, it's 315 million, I'm not going to make you guys suffer. Anyways, that's where coal comes in for this. 315 million, still shy of Aatrox's 437 million. But maybe there's another victor out there. Alright, next up is our very own Mayor Diana, or as I like to call her, the lady who keeps on trying to murder me in the middle of doing a tier 5 rev. I don't need an exalted Gaia construct right there, please! Alright, so after running a few Griffin burrows and adjusting for my incompetence, I realized that the average player could probably get through around 400 Griffin burrows an hour. Now out of these, 100 of these are guaranteed to be nothing, and that's the first one in the set. 200 of them have a 90% chance to be mobs, so we're going to call that 180 mob dens and 20 treasure dens. And then another 100 of these are guaranteed to be treasure dens. So to recap, we have 100 nothings, we have 180 chances to spawn a mob, and 120 treasure dens. Now to calculate how much money you'd make from the treasure dens, I went back to my good old friend Google Sheets and made a whole other form just for this. Yeah, I kinda do this a lot, I'm not gonna lie to you. But anyways, after calculating the average coins per every drop in the treasure menu, I got a grand total of 98,258 coins. So, not too shabby, but it could have been better. So if you want to look at the chance for a Minos Inquisitor to spawn, we're going to assume you have the Ender Slayer 9 perk, because if not, why are you hunting them? And that chance is 1 in 70.54. So we're going to divide 180 by that number, and we're going to see we can get 2.55 Inquisitors per hour. And I'm going to acknowledge that you get like around 50,000 coins per default Inquisitor, 35,000 just from killing it. And then we're going to disregard every drop but Chimera, because it really doesn't make that big a difference. If I'm being completely honest, they all have the same drop chance as Chimera, and then the most expensive item is a Shelmet worth 50,000 coins. Anyways, let's bring back out our magic find of 145, and we'll even add an extra 17 for using a dataless axe with a griffin pet with a clover item on it. And this will bring us to 162 magic find. Now if we do the math, this means we'd have about a 2.62% chance to get a Chimera 1 book from any Minos Inquisitor. And this equates to about 38.17 bosses per Chimera book, or an average of about 3.4 million coins per boss slain. Now if we want to multiply that by 2.55, the number of Inquisitors we can spawn per hour, we get about 8.7 million coins just from Inquisitors. Now we can also go ahead and add our treasure profits to this, and our treasure profits actually equate out to about 11.8 million coins per hour, again, mostly from Griffin Feathers. Now if we add these together, we will get a grand total of 20,475,403 coins per hour from doing the mythological ritual. And if we multiply this by the 40 hours we've agreed to play for, we will make a grand total of 819 million coins over the course of Diana's candidacy, which puts her solidly in the lead. GG Diana. Next up is Diaz, everyone's favorite candidate. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do for Diaz, because I had originally intended to calculate how much money we were saving by buying the stonks during the stonk auction, because they actually only cost about 2 million coins there. But then I went to go check their price in the bazaar, and I saw that they only cost about 1.6 million coins on here. So to be honest, I'm not really sure how Diaz is useful in this situation. But then I remembered, you can buy items from the NPCs! Yeah, so basically Diaz does this thing where you can buy items from the NPCs 10 times more than you usually can. And this is so useful, because you can go over to the builder, and you can buy ice and packed ice, and sell it on the bazaar for profit. I actually tried this and then ran the math on like 10 times the profit. And even with all of that, even with buying ice from Sherry in addition to the builder, which for those of you who don't know, as I didn't, Sherry is a NPC on Jerry's Island. But even after all that, Diaz still comes out to a sound last place with just 2 million coins in profit available over the course of her candidacy. Not great. Alright, and the next one is the farming mayor himself, Finnegan. Alright, obviously Finnegan is the farming mayor, but his main assets boil down to two things, and both of them come from visitors. And one of them is of course fine flour, which comes in various quantities from like every visitor. And then the other one comes from a very specific visitor, but it's worth a lot more, and that is Dedication 4 from the Ravenous Rhino. And to calculate how much money he was going to make, I had to do some farming. As I farmed, I watched the visitor counter, and realized that every 3 seconds spent farming is worth 9 seconds spent doing nothing. So essentially, you could get a visitor to appear on your island every about 5 minutes. But that's where one of Jacob's other perks comes in, and that's Blooming Business, and that allows visitors to appear 25% more often, which means instead of every 5 minutes, you could see visitors every 4 minutes if you were fast enough. If you combine this with the visitor attribute from the Mudworm Shard, you can easily get consistent visitors every 4 minutes, including filling their offers. So this is the strategy I went with. We can get 15 visitors an hour for 40 hours, and there'll be 600 visitors, and we're going to multiply all the visitor percentages off of that. This is fine. To speed this up for time's sake, over the course of 600 visitors, 158 of them will be rare, 31 will be legendary, and 3 of them will be mythic. The other 408 will be entirely uncommon. And for what this leaves us with? Well, it leaves us with 1.5 dedication 4 books. Don't judge me, I know that's not how it works. But we're doing averages, okay? And then we'll also be receiving 1067 fine flour. Again, on average. Anyways, if you add this all up, 60 million coins will come from the dedication 4 books, on average. And then another 5.7 million will come from fine flour. So we're gonna give Finnegan the benefit of the doubt and call that 66 million coins. Still a far cry from claiming the top spot, though. Alright, our next candidate is Foxy, the party mayor. And things we're going to be looking at with Foxy is what events she hosts, because she can either host a spooky festival, a mining fiesta, or a fishing festival. And for the sake of the contest, we're going to give her the most profitable one. You know, to give her a chance. Alright, let's look at the spooky festival first, because that one's happening regardless, and she is going to be replacing all the spooky chests with party chests. And of course, this means I had to go make another chart in Google Sheets, just so I could calculate the average benefit from one's party chest. And at the end of the day, I ultimately calculated the average roll in a party chest to be worth 285,350 coins. So, that's pretty good. Now, for the other numbers, we're going to assume that you're killing about 2,000 mobs in a 1-hour festival. There's a 2% chest chance approximately per mob. So that equates to about 40 party chests, and then 3 average rolls in that chest. So 3 chances to get the loot listed. And if we do the math on that, 285,351 times 40 times 3 is 34,242,120 coins. And then on top of that, we're also going to go ahead and add the profits of one of Cole's mining festivals, because, spoiler alert, it's the most profitable. And that gives Foxy an extra 63 million coins worth of profit, which is going to put her up to 97,242,120. She's useful. But still, nowhere close to Diana. And we are on to the last 2, and next up is the crazy fish lady herself, Marina. As if you were fishing in the sub pond right here with Marina's sea creature chance perk, you could easily get up to 100 sea creature chance. And with that 100 sea creature chance, you'd also be getting 10 double hook chance from her other perk. And assuming it takes you 5 seconds to reel in a fish, including the time that they are swimming to your fishing rod, we'll say you can kill 10 sea creatures a minute. And with the double hook chance, that means you're going to be able to kill 11 a minute. Multiply this out by 60, and we'll see that that is 660 sea creatures in the hour. And if we do the math, cross-multiply the weights of sea creatures in Skyblock, then you can expect to get 16 great white sharks, 32 tiger sharks, 58 blue sharks, and 116 nurse sharks. And if you look at the loot for these creatures, then you can see that you'll get about 976 shark fins, 1.6 great white shark teeth, 3.2 tiger shark teeth, 5.8 blue shark teeth, 11.6 nurse shark teeth, 0.16 legendary megalodons, and 0.32 epic megalodons. And yes, I know that a lot of those are fractions. We're getting to it, okay? This festival happens like 12 times a year. We're gonna multiply it out the same way we did with that other one. That would lead to approximately 2.42 million coins a festival. But either way, this is what we're going with, 2.42 million coins a festival. And multiply that by 12, and we get 29,057,000. And this is the bonus you make because of Marina, okay? Please don't hate on me. Unless I'm wrong. Then you can hate on me. It's okay. I'll accept it. Alright, and finally we have Paul, or artistic rendition of him. Because he doesn't exist in Skyblock right now. Anyways, Paul is a pretty popular mayor, so I expect him to do pretty well right here. Although I did make a system that's going to disadvantage him. Let's get into it. Basically, Paul's main bonus is making dungeon chests cheaper, giving benediction, and easy peasy, which both assist dungeon runs and the time it takes to do them. So, for the sake of our calculations, we're going to assume it takes you about 6 minutes to do a floor 7, and then 5 minutes to do a floor 7 when it's Paul's turn to run. However, Because you can do dungeon runs without Paul, I'm gonna have to discount the benefit he gives for the other 10 dungeon runs you're doing. And to be fair, I've done this with every other mayor. You just might not have noticed it with some of the big hitters like Diana, because she gatekeeps her event behind herself. But basically, we're going to assume that you get 2 extra runs an hour, and those 2 runs are where we're calculating the profit for Paul. Is that fair? I don't know. I'm not old enough. I'm not a scientist or a mathematician. I've done more math for this video than I've ever done for my homework. But anyways, I have to calculate the profit from something. So let me bring you the most intense chart yet. And this one actually was really mildly annoying to make because I had to do so much math. I had to like multiply percentages by like fractions of other percentages. I don't know how accurate this math is. It feels pretty accurate. But Jesus Christ, it was like solving quantum equations in another dimension. Never again. Anyways, I calculated the overall profit per floor 7 run to be roughly 1.9 million coins, assuming all the RNG worked out, plus another 54,782 for 25 Wither Essence per run, and then plus another 18,820 for 30 Undead Essence, which gives us a grand total of 1,972,403 coins per run. And if we multiply that by the 80 runs you're expected to do, that gives us a grand total of 157,792,240. That's a lot. But still not enough to beat the reigning queen herself. Alright, quick look at how standings are. Diaz is in last place with just 2 million coins of profit during her candidacy. Marina comes in at number 7 with 29 million. Finnegan takes number 6 at 66 million. How fitting. Next up is Foxy in 5th place with 97.2 million. Paul will nab 4th place with 157.8 million. Cole will take 3rd place with a cool 315 million. Aatrox will take 2nd with 437 million. And Diana reigns indisputably supreme with 819 million. So first round goes to Diana. What's that? This video has already been going for 15 minutes? I guess this next round's gonna have to be a lightning round. Alright, first up we're gonna discuss Aatrox. He gives a 25% boost to Slayer XP gains, which is pretty good, but it's also not one of the main skills, and honestly, Slayers aren't that hard to max out. I did Rev in like a day. So we're gonna count that as just 20 wisdom, just to make it fair. Also, yeah, that's how we're doing this, by the way. We're gonna count the wisdom points they give. Some of them don't quite fit like Aatrox, but just go with me here. Next up we got Paul, and he's going to give an entire 60 mining wisdom plus 75 during festivals. So we're going to divide that for when festivals are not active, but since we're only playing for 40 hours, that means we're playing for approximately 28.5% of the time with that extra 75 mining wisdom. So if you average it out, that's about 21.375 active mining wisdom on top of the 60 already there. So we're going to call that 81.375. Strong showing. Alright, next up is our good old Mayor Diana, and she gives an extra 35% pet XP, plus 2 XP share slots in the pets menu, which gives another 10% XP to those pets as well. So we're going to count this as the taming XP, yes. And that's going to give us 35% plus multiplied by 1.2, and that's going to give us 42% or 42 wisdom points for the sake of comparison. And Diaz has nothing. Finnegan doesn't directly give farming XP, but he does have one small caveat to put him ahead of Diaz, and that's that he makes it more likely for rare visitors to appear in your garden, and they, on average, give more farming XP. So he doesn't do a whole lot, just enough to beat Diaz. Foxy similarly slacks off, except you can purchase up to 10 bonus fishing wisdom from the carnival from Doug, so I mean, I guess that counts. Next up we have Marina, who gives a straight up 50 fishing wisdom perk, plus another bonus 15 sea creature chance. And then finally we have Paul, and while he does not give any wisdom stats, he does allow you to do dungeon runs about 20% faster. So we're gonna give him 20 wisdom points, you know, like as a courtesy. Alright, and if we want to compare our wisdom points, definitely not sketch. And coming in 8th place for the second round in a row is Diaz, who is not applicable to this competition. Coming in 7th place is Finnegan, who only gives extra experience from visitors. 6th place will go to Foxy, who gives an extra 10 wisdom during fishing festivals via Doug at the carnival. 5th place will go to Aatrox, who gives 25 wisdom in Slayer, but that's not really a skill. 4th place will have to go to Paul, who gives extra experience per hour when doing dungeons. But we're also going to put him a little bit ahead of Aatrox because I feel like Slayers are a tiny bit easier to max out than the entire Catacomb skill, if we're being honest here. 3rd place will then go to Diana, who essentially gives you 42 Taming Wisdom. 2nd place then goes to Marina, who straight up gives you 50 Fishing Wisdom. And 1st place, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is Cole, who gives you an average 81.375 Mining Wisdom. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Bonus points. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna give 3 bonus points to both Foxy and Diaz here, and not just because they're bad, but because I could not take into account Diaz's perk for long-term investment, which makes whichever minister is elected by her show up in the next election cycle with all 3 of their perks. So she's actually worth electing every once in a while. And then Foxy, I was not able to give any bonuses for the carnival, even though they provide a lot more than I gave her credit for. So we're gonna give them 3 bonus points to make it all even. And now the standings. In last place, it's a tie. Finnegan and Diaz both ended up scoring just 5 points. In 6th place is Marina with 9 points. Right above her, tying for 5th, is Foxy and Paul. And then in 3rd place is Aatrox. And then in a shocking twist, there's a tie for 1st between Diana and Cole. So congratulations to the 2 mayors who are the best in all of Skyblock. The world is good, the sun is shining, and Diana's candidacy reigns, well, half supreme. Guys, we did it. We did it. This is the longest I've ever had my brain turned on for a video. I was doing math for like 5 hours this morning. I was not ready. But anyways, if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe and all that jazz. It really helps out. And as I said, we're so close to 100 subscribers, so, you know, just make my day. Rather than that, I hope you guys have a good one. Hope I influenced your vote. This was all just election interference. Aha! I'm kidding. Anyways, enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! That's awkward.